Shalom, all praises to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem Rakakwadash. Double honors to the elder apostles, the bishops, and the elders of GMS with whose world peace. Salutations to the elect. My name is Ainam. The title of the video is U.S. Rebuilding World War II Pacific Airfields. Right, and we've been watching, this, regarding the U.S. rebuilding these warfields, right? Because we're not ignorant of Satan's devices, and ultimately, you know, wisdom and knowledge shall be the stability of thy time, right? So we know what's coming. Isaiah 33:6 says, "And wisdom and knowledge shall be the stability of thy times, and strength of salvation. The fear of the Lord Yahweh Bashin Awashai is his treasure." All right. So we have wisdom because we fear the Lord, right? We understand what his will is, what he's going to bring here on planet Earth, death, destruction. Right. This is Revelation 11:14. It says, "The second woe is past, and behold, the third woe cometh quickly." The second woe is talking about World War II, right? And now they're rebuilding the World War II airfields, and they're basically rebuilding it for World War III. Now, the scriptures say the devil come down with great wrath because he had but a short time, right? So a lot of things that this devil is doing, he's behind on a lot, right? Because this isn't his agenda, right? This isn't his plan. The Most High Yahweh watching our shots bringing this devil's destruction. So for a lot of this stuff, he's not actually prepared for what's actually about to happen. This is Revelation 12:12. It says, "Therefore rejoice, ye heavens, and ye that dwell in them. Woe to the inhabitants of the earth and of the sea, for the devil is come down to you, for the devil is come down unto you, having great wrath, because he knows that he have but a short time." Right? He can see, the walls closing in on him, just like we can see that we're at the end. All right. So the devil is moving quickly, right? That's why everything that he's doing now is like spontaneous. Try this, try that, do this or do that. Open up the goddamn straight, you bastards, praise Allah. Things like that, because this shit is ending. It's over with. It's the Most High saying now, go now, basically, right? Second Ezra chapter 9:1, it says, "He answered me then and said, Measure thou the time diligently in itself, and when thou seest part of the signs past, which I have told thee before, then shalt thou understand that it is the very same time where the highest begin is the Lord which he made." Right. So we're looking at the prophecy, we're looking at Jacob's trouble, right? We're looking at the MOTB, and we're looking at the World War III, right? Because pretty much this is all that is left to happen, and we already are in all of these three things, right? The MOTB is there, the digital system is being set up. They just haven't rolled it out yet. But Jacob's trouble is definitely here. It's only going to increase as time, with each passing day, the squeeze is going to get tighter, right? Ultimately, it ends with the collapse of society, right? And that's looming over us now. With the energy crisis, the fertilizer crisis and things like that, having no foods and all of those things are on the way, right? Some people say weeks, some people say months. It's about to go down, basically, right? So we see what time we're living in. We're living in the time of the end, right? Esau is aware of this too, because they're about to, try to reset the world. And what comes with that is a collapse of the world, basically. Can't just, reset. When you reset something, you power it down. It shuts off. It restarts or something. It doesn't just. It's not. Basically, it's not an easy process, especially when you're dealing with the world. So anyway, it says, "Therefore, when there shall be seen earthquakes and uproars of the people in the world, then shalt thou well understand that the Most High spake of those things from the days that were before thee, even from the beginning." Yeah, because it's all written, right? The beginning to the end is written in the scriptures of what's going to happen and what's going to take place, right? And that's the wisdom and knowledge. For like as all that is made in the world have the beginning and an end, the end is manifest. Even so, the times also the highest have plain beginnings and wonder and powerful works and endings and effects and signs. All right, so we're watching those effects and signs, and Esau, Edom is doing that too. So he knows that he has but a short time, right? So I want to grab Job 22, Job 20 also, because everything that he's doing, he's not gonna accomplish it fully. He's gonna try to save himself, but as Nahum 3, which I'll grab real quick, because all everything he's doing now is a desperate attempt to save himself, and also they're thinking about, the future. That's why you have Psalms 49 and 11, right? When they got this AI and the data centers and who's going to govern and how it's going to be governed. Meanwhile, the Most High is about to throw down. Psalms 49 and 11, it says their inner thought is that their houses shall continue forever and their dwelling places to all generations. They call their land to have their own names, right? And these devils that are currently in power, the Edomites want to retain that power and keep that power in the New World Order. Right now, America is in a trap because they have lost leverage. They don't control or own nothing. I mean, they have Venezuela, but other than that, the Middle East right now is controlled by Iran. And they're even saying that Turkey is a problem also, right? So these small headers have lost the leverage to control and rule the world because America is no longer that superpower. All their bases are destroyed. Iran can destroy it at any moment. They have to pay to go through the strait if they're even allowed to go through the strait and get the oil. So they're on a losing foot. So what they're doing is a desperate attempt to save themselves. Nahum 3:19 says, there is no healing of thy bruise, thy wound is grievous, all that hear the bruise, we shall clap their hands over thee, for upon whom have not thy wickedness passed continually. See, so there's no healing of the wound of this devil, but that's exactly what they're trying to do. Right now, they're on the back foot. All right. It says, Jeremiah 51:9, we would have healed Babylon, but she is not healed. Forsake her and let us go, everyone into his own country, for her judgment reacheth unto heaven and is lifted up even to the skies. Right? And the Most High got this devil in a super snare, a super trap. All right. And there's no escape. And now, being that they're trying to bring in this new world order, if they don't do something about their current situation, in their mind, the world to come, which is new world order, they have nothing. They own nothing. They will be nothing. Trump was saying to the EU and NATO, you don't matter, basically. You don't have a voice to speak, right? In the new system we put up, basically. And now the system is being built and everyone is leaving America behind. All right, and they see and notice this, right? And the economy is failing, right? But this is, of course, these elites want to bring about the new world order, but America's on the back foot. Jeremiah 15:22, a sound of battle is in the land and of great destruction. How was the hammer of the whole earth cut asunder and broken? How is Babylon become a desolation among the nations? I have laid a snare for thee, and thou art also taken, O Babylon, and thou wast not aware. Thou art found and also caught, because thou hast striven against the Lord Yahweh Bashmawashah. So this devil is going to come out with great wrath in this snare, because he's caught, he's trapped. There's really no way out. It's like a wild boar in a trap. Have you ever seen those? The boar just like rams into the trap, bloody in his face, hurting himself trying to get out of this trap, but he can't get out. And ultimately, he thought he was gonna go like a wild man trying to get out of this trap, and he's gonna continue to fuck himself up, right? And ultimately, the weapons, the nuclear missiles will be shot on the devil. Jeremiah 15:25, the Lord Yahweh shall have opened his armory, now brought forth the weapons of the indignation. For this is the work of the Lord Yahweh shall of hosts in the land of the Chaldeans. All right, jump out. Says, come against her from the utmost border, open her storehouses, cast her up as heat, and destroy her utterly. Let nothing of her be left. Slay all her bullocks, let them go down to the slaughter. Woe unto them, for their day is come, the time of their visitation. The voice of them that flee and escape out of the land of Babylon, to declare in Zion the vengeance of the Lord Yahweh Bashmawashah, our power, the vengeance of his temple. And ultimately, the elect is the only one that's going to get up out of here. He says, listen to the people who have escaped from Babylon, as they tell in Jerusalem how the Lord Yahweh Bashmawashah, our power, has taken vengeance against those who destroy his temple. Yeah, that's going to be us saying that and saying that. Jeremiah 15:29, call together the archers against Babylon, all ye that bend the bow, camp against it round about, let none of thereof escape. Recompense her according to her work, according to all that she hath done. Do unto her, for she hath been proud against the Lord Yahweh Bashmawashah, against the Holy One of Israel. All right, so ultimately, they're going to be destroyed with these the archers, right? And these are people that have the nuclear missiles and whatever other missiles, right? Because even now you have Iran using their missiles to destroy parts of American bases in the Middle East. All right, they're going to shoot everything they got at the devil, but ultimately it'll be the nuclear missiles that's going to do the most damage. All right, that's what the scriptures say. It was 56. I'm looking for create the Smith. Let me see. Isaiah 54 and 16. It says, "Behold, I have created the smith that blows the coals in the fire, and that bringeth forth an instrument for his work, and I have created the waster to destroy." Right, and this is talking about nuclear missiles that they have created. Right, it's going to destroy it. It's a waster. But ultimately, let me get this a little bit of this. U.S. are building a World War II Pacific airfield amid China threat. Right, engineers are refurbishing 80-year-old airstrips on the islands of Tian. Right, I'm not going Pili as a strategic rivalry in the Indo-Pacific continues to grow. Right, and really they're worried about China, and China not worried about them, but they're worried about losing their power. That's the whole point. Why they're in Iran now trying to gain control over that region to hold their power, right? And they're losing it. But the scriptures say that this devil is as deaf and he's not satisfied, and this is really to try to, protect, I guess, Taiwan, or keep Taiwan as a puppet of America type of situation. It says airstrips that were constructed on remote islands in the Pacific to target Japan in the closing stages of World War II are quietly being repaired and restored as the U.S. builds up its defensive posture amid the growing challenge of China in the region. And again, there's no help in this devil, and that's what the scriptures say he would do. It says, Nahum 3 and 14, draw thee waters for the siege, fortify thy strongholds, go into clay and tread the mortar, makes strong the brickman. Right? So this devil is like trying to basically defend himself for what's about to come. NLT says, get ready for the siege, store up water, strengthen the defenses, go into the pits, trample clay, and pack it into molds, making bricks to repair the wall. Right, so that's getting their defenses up. It says Chinese vessels frequently test maritime claims by South Korea and Japan in the Northern Pacific. To the south, Beijing carries out frequent large-scale military exercises around Taiwan, which it says will one day be united with mainland China. Beijing also claims most of the South China Sea as China territory, despite a 2016 international tribunal rejecting these claims. All right, and we see it's been found out that who's operating in the UN and who's behind that. Yeah, the devil, set these things up here, try to block people, right? He transgressed by his wine, right? He's a proud man. Habakkuk 2 and 5, it says, yeah, also because he transgressed by wine, which goes into his policy, his laws, right? His decrees. Yeah, also because he transgressed by wine, he's a proud man, now to keep it at home, who enlarges his desire as hell, and is as death and cannot be satisfied, but gathered unto him all nations, and he unto him all people. Right. So this devil, is a mastermind behind writing the laws, to block people. And he set up these different systems, the UN, right, international court, all these things he set up to benefit himself because he controls it. If you look now what's happening in the world, people are asking the UN and things like that, why are they not, saying, you know, what's up with what America's doing? You know, what's up with what Israel is doing? That's because these people are owned by American Israel. As I said, one says, woe unto them that decree unrighteous decrees and that right grievousness which they have prescribed, to turn aside the needy from judgment, to take away the right from the poor of my people, right? That widows may be their prey, and that they may rob the fatherless. All right, so this is, you know, laws and things that they put in place to do these different things, but they're being blocked by the wicked. And in these last days, they're being revealed and seen as the wicked, because even recently, uh, China and Taiwan is meeting, right? In these last days, you know, Taiwan is noticing that America can't protect it, basically, because America's out here taking, you know, equipment like from Japan and South Korea and things like that to try to fight this war with Iran, and even not even protecting like the UAE and things like that, you know, but only protecting Israel. So Taiwan is most likely looking at America like, yo, China rolled on me. Would you even be able to protect me? And that's why we just recently had Taiwan and China meet and basically talk about what they're gonna do. You know, like, you know, basically, obviously, they just had this meeting right after the you know, war, which the war is still going on, but the war with Iran and America, right? And Trump is supposed to be meeting this guy soon. So this meeting was taking place before the meeting with Trump also. If that's still going on, I heard it was canceled too.
The world today is far from peaceful, and peace is all the more precious for it. People on both sides of the strait are all Chinese, members of the same family. The shared aspiration is for peace, development, exchange, and cooperation. The meeting between the leaders of the two parties today is precisely to safeguard the peace and stability of our common home. By promoting the peaceful development of cross-strait relations, we can ensure that our children and future generations are able to share in a brighter future. Building on the shared political foundation of upholding the 1992 consensus and opposing Taiwan independence, we will work together with Taiwan's various political parties and groups, including Kuomintang, as well as people from all walks of life, to strengthen exchanges and dialogue, to seek peace across the Taiwan Strait, to promote the well-being of our compatriots, to work for the prosperity of the nation, and to keep the future of cross-strait relations firmly in the hands of the Chinese people themselves.
It is a great honor that the leaders of our two parties are able to come together today for exchanges after a gap of 10 years. At this moment, I am deeply conscious that the concerns of the global community and the weighty responsibility entrusted to us by history rest upon each and every one of us present here to establish sustainable mechanisms for dialogue and cooperation so that the peaceful development of cross-strait relations becomes irreversible and all underlying causes of conflict are fundamentally eliminated.
Yeah, mind you, like you just said, this is not something that's normal. It's been like 10 years or so before these two sides actually spoke. Now with this war happening, with America losing, this meeting takes place, which I thought was very interesting when I first heard about it. This WWII 1 and 7, I'll get it in there too. It says all your allies will turn against you. They will help to chase you from your land. They will promise you peace while plotting to deceive and destroy you. Your trusted friends will set traps for you, but you won't even know about it. Right. So these type of meetings are happening all around the world, with the EU and NATO having to talk with Russia, you know, and just these different dialogues that are taking place between members. And their, you know, the elephant in the room is America. I mean, it was like the G7 or the G6 or whatever the case may be. They didn't want America there, you know, so that sentiment is being carried into almost every meeting. And we'll see if Trump meets with President X. You know, I heard Yeah, see, so it was like decades before these two sides even met, and now they're meeting. And that's right after America got their ass beat. Hey, that's exactly how the woman gonna get in line quick. You know, she's the opposition leader. She was trusting in Babylon. You know, Babylon got their ass spanked, and they had a meeting. I never before seen meeting. 30 decades. You know, before they was meeting. Let me see. Let me just get I get 30. Isaiah 30:1. Woe to rebellious children, said the Lord Yahweh, watching our shy, that take counsel, but not of me, that cover the covering, but not of my spirit, that they may ask into sin, that walk to go down into Egypt, and have not asked at my mouth to strengthen himself in the strength of Pharaoh, and to trust in the shadow of Egypt. Therefore shall the strength of Pharaoh be your shame, and the trust in the shadow of Egypt your confusion. You know, so just using the scripture just to show like this individual, the opposition leader over there in Taiwan, trusted America. America was getting their ass beat, taking weapons from the area that they need to protect themselves, and now they meet or whatever the case may be. So it's very interesting. It says China is, of course, the big concern in the region, and this appears to be a response to China building out its own capacity. Says the details of the work that is taking place at the wartime bases on Tintan are limited. Analysts believe in it. If anybody see China, see, because China and Russia is giving Iran satellite images of where all America's equipment is at, right? So they can see what's happening. They're not stupid, you know. Analysts believe the intention is to provide the U.S. Air Force an alternative to primary fields such as Anderson Air Force Base in northern Guam, or Kadena Air Base on the Japanese island of Okinawa. Since 2023, U.S. engineers have been relaying the four 2,400-meter runways that were initially laid down 80 years ago at Tian Island, North Field, from where the B-29 Super Fortress Enola Gay took off to drop the first atomic bomb on the city of Hiroshima on August 6, 1945. So this is where in World War II they dropped the bomb from these islands. It says 3 days later, another B-29 bomber took off from the airfield. Today, part of the northern Marianas Islands to drop a second bomb on Nagasaki and force Japan's surrender. All right, so these are the same bombs or the same islands that they used to bomb in World War II. All right. And basically, America is rebuilding them. Getting prepared for World War III, but they're not ready. Right? But they're going to try, though. Psalms 21, why do the heathen rage and the people imagine a vain thing? The kings of the earth set themselves, and the rulers take counsel together against the Lord Yahweh, Bashim Shai, and against his anointed, saying, let us break their bands asunder and cast away their cords from us. He that sitteth in the heavens shall laugh, the Lord Yahweh, Bashim Shai, shall have them in derision. Then shall he speak unto them in his wrath, and vex them in his sore displeasure. So the Most High just laughing at these devils, as they try to save themselves, right? And, the prophets, the elect, the whole elect, we're laughing too. So Lord willing, we edify from this lesson. Shalom to the whole elect, which consists of men, women, and children. Shalom.